And we are back to talk about Loki Season 2, Episodes 3 and 4. And I know I'm getting ahead of myself here, but you just finished Episode
Yeah,
4. I
I
just finished
did.
Episode 4. I gotta say, I haven't felt this way, like, after a credits roll for a Marvel thing since Infinity War, where Thanos won. It was
It was
very
quite an
somber.
ending. It was quite a very shocking, solid ending. But I I have I have a lot of problems with the past two episodes, but we'll get
What?
into that.
You're crazy.
Yeah.
I've been enjoying thoroughly the last two episodes. IGN gave the first four episodes a 6 out of 10. Would you agree with that rating?
The I thought the first two were a little better. When we'll talk of like why I'm having some real problems with the with episodes 3 and 4. Maybe they're gonna pull it all together because there was a line in here where Loki says, "Don't worry, this will all make sense," and I was like, okay, I maybe they're gonna pull it all back. Maybe they're gonna pull it all back, but um yeah, I'm having some real trouble. I'm having some real trouble with the series actually. The
Well,
last two
let me
episodes.
recap episode 3 and we'll get
Sure.
that out of the way. Miss
Yeah.
Minutes and Renslayer travel to Chicago, 1868, to secretly drop the TVA guidebook to a young Victor Timely, a variant of He Who Remains, who informed Miss Minutes about his plans before his death. They travel to 1893 at the Chicago World's Fair on the branch timeline, where Loki and Mobius arrive tracking Renslayer's tempad. There, they see Timely presenting his temporal loom prototype. Timely then has four groups chasing him: Loki and Mobius, who want to use his aura to fix the loom; Renslayer and Miss Minutes, who want him to take his variant's place with them at his side; Sylvie, who wants to kill him to prevent his rise to power; and a robber baron and his allies wanting revenge against Timely's fake invention scam. At Timely's Wisconsin laboratory, he turns Miss Minutes off after she professes romantic love for him. Renslayer, Loki, Mobius, and Sylvie arrive, with Sylvie gaining control. Seeing Timely's fear, Sylvie allows Loki to take him back to the TVA, then sends Renslayer to the Citadel at the end of time, with Miss Minutes being brought along. They see He Who Remains' decaying corpse as Miss Minutes reveals that she knows a secret about Renslayer. This episode I had fun with. A good chunk of it was just a little
Mm.
slow, building up. We get to see who Victor is. He may not be just like the other variants. He just may be like, a normal guy. Because at the end of
Yeah.
Quantumania, we see a lot of variants of Kang who are just like crazy and insane. But maybe there's some variants who are nice, like Victor Timely. I liked Jonathan Majors as this
Hmm.
character. I thought he did a great job, the stuttering, the nerd guy.
Yeah.
However, did you notice they always have to keep him like in a bunch of clothes because the fucking guy's buff? I don't know if you watched him in Creed 3. Like a buff
Well,
nerd? No.
it's the same with the other guy at the TVA. The one with glasses. The what's his name?
I think it's Casey.
Casey. Casey. He's like absolutely buff, and they like
Him
try to make
too.
him look. They like try to make him look not so buff, but he's just like he's just so ripped that he's busting out of his shirt. So episode 3, there was a lot of fun with this episode in the sense that, like, yes, it's great to see Chicago and the World's Fair and the inventions and the performance of Victor Timely. It was very unique and very interesting. But there's a few things that I'm really having trouble with, and that it's the same with getting in from episode 2. Like when they get hits on a tempad, like what does that mean? And why do they suddenly get a hit now versus any other time? And how do all of these characters know to show up at the same time? Like the characters keep like all showing up at the same time. And I think it's just, because the plot demands it. They're tracking everybody's temp pads and they just get hits randomly. Episode 2 was like, oh, we got a hit on Brad. Well, why did you get a hit on Brad? Well,
Because I'm assuming it's because whenever they use the temp pad, then like it sends out a certain
he,
signal that the computer
he,
picks up.
but Brad wasn't using the temp pad. He was on Earth for like 6 months or something, becoming a movie star.
Dude,
You know,
Preston, don't ruin this episode for me. I enjoyed these two.
No, but this is the thing. This is the thing is they just get these random hits, and then the characters, and this is also my problem. There's two problems I have with like the logic of like plot flow is they get random hits on temp pads, so people just like suddenly are like, oh god, all of a sudden I know this character exists. I better go encounter them. And then the second thing is all of the characters seem to know all of the information about all the other characters for no reason.
So that I'm going to agree with you because in episode 4, Doc's Lysa Arryn, she says how she knows about Brad's whole stint on the timeline, and Renslayer knows that too.
And Renslayer knows about Brad's stint on the timeline. Mm-hmm. Right. Or like when I was complaining about Loki showing up and being like, I saw you in the future. And he meant I saw you in the future in the TVA, which should be impossible because the TVA is outside of time. But when you say like, I saw you in the future, shouldn't she mean like, wouldn't you immediately think like on the sacred timeline when we were at the end of the world, at the end of the universe, or on this timeline in the future, on her McDonald's timeline? You know, like she all of a sudden knows exactly what Loki is talking about when she shouldn't. And so there's with them chasing Victor Timely, it's a bit weird because like they all show up at once. Like all of a sudden Renslayer is trying to find him, and then you know Loki and Mobius show up, and then Sylvie shows up too, and it's like, is she tracking them too? Like does her temp pad like track people? And why are they all showing up at the same place? Because remember, like Loki and Mobius first went to like the past and then went forward and all sorts of things. And then they all lose each other and they get on that boat, but then they show up at Victor Timely's house at the exact same time again, despite the fact that like Renslayer was shoved in a boat. And Sylvie was still back in Chicago, and Loki and Mobius were back in Chicago. Like I imagine they went to Milwaukee or something. I don't know, but they all show up at the same time again. It's just kind of weird, you know.
This is something that does stay at the back of your head because you're right. Like specifically how everyone does know a lot of information the moment someone hits the timeline. That is a thing that happens. So
I'm also really having trouble with motivations besides Brad. I know exactly what Brad wants. it's kind of hard to know what everyone really wants. Like they want to save the TVA, but why do they want to save the TVA? Because wasn't the TVA there to prune timelines? And now they don't want to prune timelines. So what's the point of the TVA? So why do they want to save it? And this is the major motivation for like a lot of the characters, like Hunter 15 and Mobius and Loki. They want to save the TVA. So that they can do good with it later, maybe. I don't know. Or you know, if they would mention like, you know, there are logical reasons. Like He Who Remains said there's going to be a big war, and the TVA needs to be there to stop the war. Or something like that. They just need to say that or explain it. But right now they're just like saving the TVA for the sake of saving the TVA, even though the TVA is kind of evil because they're pruning timelines.
Well, from what I saw, Renslayer basically wants to be in a position of power within the TVA. She doesn't want to be.
She wants to rule the TVA.
Right. She doesn't want to be like Brad, who just wants to live on the sacred timeline. She wants to be at the very top, and that is basically what's driving her, to get the TVA back online, under control, and just have everything just the way it was with her at the top. That's basically what she wants.
Why would Kate Dickey be against that?
I feel like there's like interpersonal drama between them that they didn't get to.
She's willing to die for it? Like she's and everybody else was willing to die for it? This is like I'm having some serious motivation problems because like I need to be very clear on what Renslayer wants and why that's evil versus like Kate Dickey's position versus Sylvie's position versus like Mobius Loki position versus B-15's position. You know, like I vaguely kind of know like, okay, some people don't want to trim timelines anymore. Okay. I understand that. So they would be against Renslayer, but Dickie's position was trimming timelines. So like what exactly, and Renslayer was in charge of the TVA before. So why was Kate Dickie against Renslayer?
I think it's because Kate Dickie was convinced, maybe, by Hunter B-15. And it does feel like Kate Dickie and Renslayer have the same goal, but Kate Dickie does not want to follow Renslayer, who wants to be at the top. That's what it sounds like. Because wasn't the TVA originally just like a democracy type of leadership thing, where it's like 3 people? I
think they were following the 3 leads, but those turned out to be robots.
Right, and under the robots, it was Kate Dickie and a few other people who were generals, and under Kate Dickie, it was Renslayer, who I think was like the manager of the TVA, and then under her is like all the
right. Unfortunately, they only introduced the generals this season. There's the physically disabled woman, and then and Kate Dickie.
I swear there's one more person. Who I forgot. I forgot the other person, but regardless, like I know what you mean. Everyone knows everything all the time about everybody, and how do they know where everybody is and how they can teleport? It's kind of like the Game of Thrones season 7, season 8 teleport thing.
Yeah, like everybody knowing about Brad. I mean, a lot of time doesn't make sense as well, because like Renslayer's like, I was gone only a few days, but then Brad's been on the timeline for like 6 months or whatever, becoming a movie star. Like, but I mean, I guess with all the time stuff, I'm just like, okay, time doesn't make sense, but so whatever. But then they're choosing to do time loops and weird things like that. And
well, in terms of motivation, it's like everyone seems like they want the same thing, which is that the TVA is exploding and everyone wants it to not explode, but everyone wants the aftermath of it not exploding to be under their guidelines. Renslayer wants to be in charge and probably continue pruning the timelines. Kate Dickie wants to go back to the status quo, but Hunter B-15, Mobius, and Loki want to stop it from exploding, but then find a way for the multiple timelines to coexist. So basically,
with a loom, and then Sylvie just wants no TVA, and timelines everywhere. But so there's a lot of scenes where I'm just like, there's too many people in the scene. Like it's like the entire cast is in the scene. It started feeling like a scene from early seasons of Arrested Development. But so I mean, I don't know. We're stuck on these things where I'm just like, what's going on now? I don't know. Let's focus on things I liked.
Please don't tell me you hated Miss Minutes, because oh my god.
No, Miss Minutes is great.
Miss Minutes is the little southern accent. Oh, so hot.
Miss Minutes. We can just be like, Miss Minutes is crazy and creepy and everything. Okay, so like you don't really need a motivation for Miss Minutes, because Miss Minutes is clearly insane. Mm-hmm. You know. There's a few other random things. Is I feel like they don't have anything for Mobius to do, so they're inventing all of these scenes where people get angry at Mobius and start screaming at him for no reason.
That's not true. Mobius has become sidekick, and I'm okay with that.
Let's get some pie, and then Sylvie like lays into him, and it's just like, why would Sylvie be doing that? like okay. Here's where I think they missed a real opportunity, is they should have spent some time on Sylvie's life in the McDonald's timeline, where she cares about all of these people and she likes them and she wants them to live. And so we feel her stakes.
That's what I thought they were going to do at the end of episode 2. Remember, the episode 2 ends with her on the car talking to that worker, and it like apparently he needed a ride or something. I thought like we were going to see like, oh, this is a friendship. No, it just ends with her looking at the temp pad and
yeah. And that's the thing, is like the stakes are very abstract, because it's like, oh, we need to save all of these timelines filled with billions, trillions. I mean, it should be like infinite people, but they said billions. But nonetheless, filled with billions of people. And it's like, okay, that's very abstract. We've never met these people. We've never seen their timelines. Like, why should I care? Why should I care if they die? You know?
Technically, we don't know if they're dying. This is actually something I wanted to bring up with you because
fair enough.
the whole thing is it's different if we because the whole motivation is from B-15 is like, look at all those prune timelines. Those are people. They're dying. It would be one thing to see them dying versus being told. Like if we see as Kate Dickey's people are pruning the timeline, if we see like people across the universe being pruned and it's like a painful thing, okay, I care. But if you're gonna tell me this person died who you've never met or never seen, like, oh, that happens every day. Okay, cool. But at the same time, if you prune the timeline, that means it never existed in the first place. Does that mean they're dead but they never existed in the first place? So
this is the thing is that like human beings are already conditioned to not care about the deaths of people they don't know. Like we're already conditioned that way. When we learn more about them, it's heartbreaking. We connect with them. But like, if I tell you, you know, like I say, like every day we know that 1 million people in the world die. Like more than that, right? Like millions of people die every day. And some horribly, some of old age, but like we all live our life. We all like are happy living our lives, forgetting about them, worrying about, you know, traffic and other stuff, even though millions of people are dying. So like, it's only when we see people and we meet them and we know their names, their lives, things like that, that it becomes heartbreaking. I mean, I remember like reading the obituaries after 9/11 of like these people's lives, and then you just feel so sad. But like none of that is done. So it's like, yeah, billions of people are dying. Well, what does that mean? Like human beings are already conditioned to not care about people that we've never met. So we haven't met these people. They're just
not
dying.
even meet them. All they had to do was give us a scene where as we see the timelines being pruned, people are like painfully being affected.
Right. Yes. Like the death of Kate Dickey and all of those people was a very harsh scene. Because we saw them as bodies, and we saw them die. Like we heard them dying painfully. Like that was a very brutal scene. We didn't even get to see them die. But it took so little. There was just that minimum thing. Like, oh, these are people. And then, oof, that's bad. You know? And they should have done that with the timelines or something, instead of just, you know, looking at a computer screen of a line. Those are people, are they?
Well, Hunter B-15, like they needed her to have motivation to be against Renslayer and Kate Dickey's faction. That's
yeah, and you feel Hunter B-15's pain, you know, but it's weird. I mean, I would like to know about these timelines so I'd care about them before like, you know, because these are the stakes, right? These are the stakes. Oh, well.
I can't believe Disney and Marvel created an entire 1980s McDonald's and they only used it for like one episode, maybe one episode only. Okay, seems like a waste.
I hope McDonald's gave him some money.
So okay, like you used it for one episode. Cool. I wonder if they're gonna go back and use it again. Maybe. Probably, who knows? Who the fuck knows? By the way, someone said to me on my Patreon, they commented, I'm Preston's age, and I could say McDonald's was way different experience in the 80s. Bright colors, playpens, the characters were much more prominent and popular. No one used drive-thru, you dined in. Now every McDonald's is designed to look like a cafe for adults on the inside. Preston's been out of country too long.
No, I mean, I understand that's how McDonald's have changed now, the McCafe thing. But I mean, I certainly remember McDonald's as a kid, and it was a very different experience. I mean, they're just bigger and more plasticky, and playlands and birthday parties and stuff like that. Now, they're they're smaller and specialized. I understand.
To be very honest with you, homie, like,
Hmm.
I kind of like the way McDonald's, and I know it's completely random, but I kind of like that McDonald's is doing away with the fucking playpens, because let's be very real. Nowadays, I feel like teens, I'm going to sound like an old person, but teens and kids are more shitheads than they were, like,
Oh,
when I was younger, when you were younger.
I mean,
And yeah.
yeah, they knew they had to do it. They knew that because they knew that like society was moving towards like things that looked fancier and chicer. The birth of Chipotle and stuff, like fast casual. Like they knew they had to like up their game. So
Nowadays, I feel like a lot of the younger people are going into these places to cause trouble so they can post a video of it on TikTok. And I feel like McDonald's and a lot of these franchises know that, so they're like, all right, let's remove this bullshit and just focus on the fucking business aspect. Because we already have the kids. In the 70s and 80s, we got the kids. They're grown up now. There it is. Like, we don't need to, like, cater these fucking kids anymore, because the kids are going to be coming regardless. So,
yeah.
Episode 4, we just finished watching it. I have to say, once again, I said it in the beginning, I'll say it here, I have not felt this way after watching the Marvel property since the end of Infinity War. This episode ended in such a crazy way. I almost want them to announce the end of the MCU, and every Marvel trailer, because the Marvels still have to come out. I want the next Marvels trailer to just be like a black screen. Just to go with it, because like technically the temporal loom exploding means the death of the MCU, right?
Yes. Well, it depends what it means. Does it mean like all the timelines exist now and the TVA is destroyed, like that, or all the timelines destroyed?
I don't remember.
It could be right. We don't know. Like, there's a lot of things like, what does it mean, or is it the same power that's used in the sticks, and so maybe everybody just gets warped to a different place at the end of time? All sorts of stuff. I
like that theory.
Who knows? But I will say that when like we were given enough time with Victor Timely that we cared about him as a character. So when I saw him just get obliterated, I was like, oh, geez.
Dude, this episode went hard, and it had no business going as hard as it did. Victor being spaghettified.
Like, the whole... the episode was very violent. Very violent.
Him being spaghettified, Coffee Dude, Kate Dickey and her crew. I just kind of wish when Hunter B-15 came in to check on them and opened the door, there was like blood everywhere. That would have been perfect. But instead, we just get the horrified look on her face.
It's funny because even the guy that because like we don't know if culling actually like kills people. The guy who had the cocoa coffee or whatever, like he could still be alive. But Kate Dickey, it's hard to.
But no, this is the Marvel I want to see more of, because I had fun with episode 3. I had fun with episode 4. This is stuff that like kept coming out of nowhere. I did not expect the Kate Dickey death. I did not expect the Renslayer pruning. I did not expect Victor Timely to just fucking be obliterated. I did not expect that ending. That was insane. Right around Halloween too. Perfect.
And I mean, if I mean, that's the thing. Oh, Renslayer got pruned too. It's like all these things. Like, do I really think these people are gone? I mean, Victor Timely maybe, because there's a million Kang variants, but like, is Renslayer really gone? Like, like what? It's too bad that Kate Dickey's gone. Like, they could have just not had her return, but then they had her return and immediately kill her. But very, very, very late season Game of Thrones. But I suppose, I don't know. I guess they really needed to establish something of like make Renslayer a true villain. Where you're like,
we needed to establish Renslayer as a big problem, and we needed to establish that Miss Minutes has to go, because Miss Minutes, whew.
Yeah, with the smile in her eyes, being like, oh yeah. Oh,
it's the Southern accent. It gets me, man. Like, I love the Southern accent. It just goes well with like that female voice. It's the crazy ex-girlfriend. I just love it.
I want to say. So there was this one line in the middle where Sylvie says, I was watching it with my wife, and Sylvie says in it, it feels like we're playing God. And then immediately my wife's like, aren't they gods? And I'm like, I bet the next line is, we are gods. And then and then they're like, we are gods. And I was like, see, like, it was like immediate. And she's like, they really slow rolled it too. Like, you know, like there's like a long pause. Like it was enough time that we could have that conversation. It was kind of funny. But,
when I was watching like Victor Timely going, you're the guy who wrote the TVA handbook. Can I have your autograph? Wait a minute, but can I have your autograph? The whole time travel loop thing. I know for a fact you hated that.
Yeah, I do. I also thought that like, so in the first episode they did establish that Loki gets culled, and we don't know who did it. And I'd completely forgotten about it. And then they have this like big epic scene where he comes and like completes the time loop. And it's like, yeah, it's like a simple time loop. Like that doesn't entertain anyone anymore. Like it's been done so much in fiction that like you didn't need this big, like very slow, like walking up behind himself to like complete the time loop thing. But they did it anyway. But maybe it'll be more significant later. But it's like, oh, you completed that random time loop that we didn't care about. Oh well. But that happened. But it's the things that are well is the style of all the gadgets and the feel of the TVA and how creepy everything is really quite good. Like the machine that Victor Timely put his head in and all the creepiness of that and him being spaghettified. And there's a lot of like, just the atmosphere of everything is really great. It's just, I just wish the pacing and the plot like made a little more sense. Like, what do these characters want to do? Why do they know all of this information? What are the stakes? You know, that sort of thing. Like the acting is great. The characters are great. I like them all. I love all the design. I love the creepiness. I can even like forgive all of the illogical time mumbo jumbo because it's, but give me like some good motivation for the characters and don't just have them, oh, we've got a hit on our temp pad. Okay, great. That was convenient so that the plot can move forward, you know? But that's it.
I don't know, man. Like it's like I told you last time. When I'm watching this show, it all makes sense. Whenever they give out some bullshit tech mumbo jumbo, like we have to activate this and put it this and then when I'm watching them explain I'm like, oh, of course, that makes sense. And then the moment I turn off the episode, wait a minute, what? Nah, it's fine. It's fine. I have so fun with it.
This is what like people with like my old Game of Thrones watches like would say. They'd be like, "Oh, I really love the episode," and then I watched Preston's Game of Thrones watch, and then I realized I hated it. And I was like, it's like I'm not trying to make you hate the episodes or anything, but it's like I can't help myself to be like, but wait, what's going on here? Huh?
You point out things that people don't want to know, because I had fun with the episode, but you pointing out certain things makes me go, because it was in the back of my head. You pointing it out makes me go, I guess. But hey, look, at the end of the day, I was entertained. I thought this one was one of the best Marvel Disney Plus episodes we've gotten in a very long time. One of the best.
It's very well acted. I really love the Brad character. He's great.
They were finally able to use their magic.
Yeah, all the bickering and everything is, funny and entertaining. It's got great atmosphere. But yeah, it's just I don't know. Yeah, just
oh, stop it! You had a good time. You had a good time. No,
I'm having a great time. I'm having a great time. But I mean, it's like to take it to the extreme, like when you watched Rise of Skywalker. Did you not have a great time watching Rise of Skywalker, even though it was chaotic?
I had a frustrating time watching Rise of Skywalker. I'll be very real with you. It was a very frustrating time because you're like, what? Where are we going with this? Why does this? Oh, Chewie's dead? Wait, no, he's not. How does she have Force lightning? What? Huh?
Right. But at the same time, it was a lot of like, oh man, the Knights of Ren are here. this is
And
going
then
to
they
be a
did
huge
nothing.
battle. And then, oh, wait, you didn't do anything. Oh, man, there's a bunch of horses riding on the outside of a Star Destroyer. That's crazy. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Like, it's a lot of that. Like,
I will say though, like compared to Loki season one was great because it had all this mystery. It had all like they were fugitives from the TVA. They were on Lamentus, that planet that was like facing an apocalypse. There was like a rush of trying to get away. Like it was nonstop like thrill. Here, this is more laid back. There is a sense of urgency, but at the same time, it's also a little slower. I don't mind it. It's not. I don't want to. I hate to compare the two, but I do like season one a bit more. Season two so far, I've been thoroughly entertained these last 4 episodes.
I think season one, you felt you had more of a character. We had more of a character dive into Loki. That was really great. And there was the mystery of what the TVA was. Right now, we don't have that same mystery. Like, season one, you're like, what is the TVA and how does it make sense? Like, what is the answer? And and that was all revealed. And now there's no mystery box anymore. This is like, we need a new mystery box.
Keep in mind, almost every episode of Loki season 1, every episode ends on a phenomenal question. Like, oh, there's a Loki variant out there killing TVA members? Whoa, what? Okay, who's at the very top of this? What's going on? Oh, we're gonna go see the guys at the very top? Wait a minute, they're robots? That's interesting. Oh shit, Loki just got pruned. Wait, now we're gonna really meet the guy at the very top? Yo, what's going on? Like, every episode ended on this phenomenal cliffhanger. And episode 1 ends on a decent cliffhanger. Episode 2 and 3 kind of end okay. And episode 4 ends on a phenomenal cliffhanger on the level of Loki season 1.
Yeah,
so,
I was surprised they didn't do any after credits or anything. I was just like, they've got to have something, right? No. We're gonna leave you. So maybe everything will come together, and these last 2 episodes will I'll love it. We'll see. Is it only 2 more episodes?
I believe it's only 2 more episodes. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
So next week can't come sooner enough because that was fucking awesome. I really like that. I'm really entertained. I'm really into it. Yeah, I was hoping it because I saw IGN's like review of the first 4 episodes. They gave it a 6. I would not give it a 6. I've been thoroughly into every single thing I've been seeing so far. I've been really liking it. I would go as far as like an 8. I'm really liking it. The first 4.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I'm entertained. Let's go.
All right.
Would you give it an A2 or?
No. I would probably give it a 6. I'm entertained right now. I'm entertained, but at the same time, like there's just I don't know. All the plot holes and plot conveniences are a little much for me, and so maybe there's an ability for my mind to be changed with the last 2 episodes. We'll see. We'll see if it ends strong. So. But I'm not where you are. I'm not where you are. Like
the only reason I'm not giving it a like 10 out of 10 like Loki season 1 is because you're right. There is a lot of problems, but for the most part, all the characters, like you said, there's way too many on screen. Yeah. Sometimes that's true, but I'm really liking Casey. I'm really liking OB. Victor Timely is cool. Miss Minutes was awesome. Renslayer is a little weaker this time around, but everyone's like, on point. I do kind of wish that Owen Wilson's Mobius had more to do besides just being comic relief side character, but I'm fine with that. More characters.
And have everybody yell at him. He just gets yelled at.
But guys, thank you so much for watching. As always, we'll see you next time for the next 2 episodes or the season finale, however you want to do, however you want to handle that. Because I know we've been doing 2 and 2 at a time, right?
Yeah. So we'll see how eager we are.
Yes. Guys, thank you so much for joining. As always, we'll see you next time. Have a good one.